Good morning. This is going to be a very short update on the regulator clock progress. One video that I shot following the last one, or the initial one, I lost it. So that video showed the clock being disassembled, and I had a computer crash during the editing process, and as a result, somehow I lost the video. So skipping ahead here, yesterday I proceeded to try to do something with the cleaning up process, and so that's where I'm at now. The clock's was completely disassembled, and yesterday I tried to clean up the plates a little bit. I haven't completely cleaned them. I'm not totally satisfied, but and they're not ready to reassemble yet, because all the pivots, I need to take some peg wood and clean out all the pivot holes and so forth and so on. But if you can see in the background, let's see if I can zoom in on that. I think I told you last time though that I used that semi-chrome polish. That works pretty good on brass. If you try to use Scotch-Brite or something, it'll scratch the brass all up. So the semi-chrome polish seems to do pretty good. It will still scratch very fine brass finish, but it's good enough for this situation. And then this time I used a little of that Renaissance wax. That's an excellent product. It won't keep the brass from tarnishing, but it slows down the process a bit, and so it becomes lightly tarnished after time. But that's just a little patina on the brass, and I don't mind that. The brass almost looked like it was rusted this time in some places on the top of the clock, so it was pretty bad. So let me zoom back out again a little bit here. So I put the ultrasonic cleaner didn't do much. Of course, the wheels and so forth weren't so badly exposed, and they cleaned up a little bit. Maybe if I mix up a little different kind of solution in the ultrasonic cleaner, I can clean up the wheels a little bit better. But they are clean. It's just the brass isn't shiny. So, and all the pillars, what I did with those is I put them all back in the lathe and hit them with some Scotch-Brite and put a coat of wax on them. And all the arbors I did the same with. And so I don't know if you can see that, but the let's see here. So you can see all the arbors stacked over there to the left, and I had to put those back in the lathe too. Hit them with a little Scotch-Brite. They weren't bad, but they needed cleaned up somewhat. So I did clean them up, and so this is just a quick update. So let's take a look. We'll take a look at the plates. Let me turn the viewer around here. And if I can get it to where I can see it here. So these are the 3 plates, 1, 2, 3, and they're shiny. They're scratched up anyway. So I remember when I originally did the work on them, they had one side was protected. I tried to keep that on as long as possible, but eventually you have to remove the protection, and they do get scratched up. You can't keep them perfect. So I guess if you really want to be anal about it, you can do that. But I don't know if you can see it, but I don't know if it makes any difference. I don't remember why, but I did take a stamping set, and I stamped numbers where all the different pillars go, and I also stamped the pillars too. So anyway, the plates are fairly clean now. Let me see if I can set this plate up here out of the way. Hopefully it doesn't fall over here. Not the best situation in the world. Afraid it's going to fall over. I'll move it over here. So the pillars don't look real bright because some of them do. Maybe, not sure whether these pillars, maybe I didn't, maybe I need to, buff the wax a little bit on them. I don't know. Yeah, I see that. I need to buff the wax on these. I don't know where I left off here, but I did put a coat of wax. It slows down the tarnish a little bit, and so now that looks a little better. Just hitting it with I put a pair of just cotton gloves on this morning to handle this stuff. Helps a little bit, but you really can't do much with cotton gloves on. No, you probably can't see that, but I put a stamp on those on each pillar. So in most cases it doesn't matter, and I think in reality it doesn't matter, but I did it anyway. I had them numbered for some reason, and yeah, you can see I cleaned up the arbors, and I did that to all of them. I think, not sure if all the arbors are here. There may be one more. I think there may be one more. We've got the escape wheel here. Let's see here. Let's see. So there are some more arbors to make. I need a pallet arbor. Well, let's see. I've got the book here in front of me, but it's a little hard to read actually. So I think there is a couple more arbors though that need made. Maybe that's a second hand. And we got the second wheel, third wheel, center wheel. We got most of the parts. These arbors that come to a sort of a point, those are arbors that hold certain hands on the clock. So that's why that is. This is the back pivot. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I've decided not to clean up these nuts and washers. They'll just have to be what they are. And the wheels actually, this wheel I tried to clean it up a little bit, I don't know. But the wheels actually don't look too bad. They weren't that exposed to the elements, I think, as the plates and the tops of the pillars and stuff. These, let's see. I may have put one of these was really bad, and I think I put it back in the lathe and hit it with some Scotch-Brite. It was almost rusty looking. So there we are. That's where we're at, and so now I guess the next step, what I'll do next is probably just assemble everything and get it back to where I had it. And probably as I go along, we'll clean things up a little bit better. But at least I got some initial cleaning done, and like I say, I put a coat of wax on this, and it should help a little bit. I've used that Renaissance wax before on some anniversary clocks that I had, like at one time I had like 6 anniversary clocks, and I used this Renaissance wax. Somewhere along the way somebody told me that they use this for antique things at the Smithsonian. I don't know if that's true or not, but this is supposed to be a good wax to put on brass and protect it. I noticed I still have about 4 of those anniversary clocks, and whatever I did when I cleaned them, I took all the lacquer off of them, and I noticed that they're under a glass dome. So what's under the glass dome is still nice and shiny after quite a few years, but the base is exposed that the dome sits on. And that was shiny to begin with after I worked on those clocks, and I coated it with this wax. And it has a nice patina on it after, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years. Still looks pretty good. So, but it's not shiny anymore. It just looks like dull brass. So that said, I think it's a good product. I'd recommend it. And so at this point, I'll call off because I did find a diagram here in the book for the clock wheels, so I can figure out how to put all this back together. It looks like there's a pretty normal element of wheels here. So, and it does look like the front plate does need to be polished because it is exposed. If you use a solid dial, maybe not, but in this case they're asking me to use a chapter ring. So a chapter ring, it's just got an outer ring, and you can see it's got a couple other dials, like 3 dials, but 2 small dials and then the 1 large chapter ring, which is about 9 or 10 inches in diameter. So you can see through, and so one of the plates will be exposed. So that'll have to be some of the scratches and taken out and polish it. So that'll be in the end of the project. So it won't be now. And so that's where I'm at. I just wanted to touch base. I feel bad about the second video that I made. I tried to edit it because I just tried to crank up the part of the disassembly process to 2 times speed, and without any voiceover. And so I thought that would be a good way to show it, and without having to make a lengthy video. And also I just threw in some music, and then there's a part of the video that's 1 time speed, and where I explained what I was doing. So that was unfortunate. I try to use a software program called Movie Maker, and it's an old Microsoft program that used to come with Windows. I think maybe up and through Windows 7 or something. But if you try to run it on Windows 10, some of you may be experts out there, but I'm not. And Windows 10, it'll crash. So that's what happened. I've had success with it before, so it's not. So it might work, but and I think maybe if it's, I've had problems with different kinds of software. If the software was on the computer prior to installing Windows 10, and then after installing Windows 10, it will continue to work. But if you try to install it in Windows 10, you may have some problems. So anyway, I have another computer with Windows 7 on it, and I think that'll probably solve my problem with the editing thing. Sometimes it's nice to be able to edit something, to take some of the content out, or speed up some of the content so the video isn't so long. So anyway, and that said, this video is getting a little bit long, so I'll call off now. Just wanted to let you know where we're at, and so what we're going to do next is we're just going to put this back together the way we had it, and maybe try to figure out a good way. And I don't have a good way, actually, but I need to mark the location of all these wheels and pinions on the arbors so I can plant them there. And I've never figured out a good way to mark the arbors, so when I take them out I can get the wheel and pinion back in the exact right spot to plant it onto the arbor permanently. So usually I just try to put a little mark with a magic marker on the arbor. Usually it's not real critical. You can slide it one way or the other, maybe a 32nd of an inch or something, but you do have to get it fairly close. So that said, I'll call off now and publish this, and so until the next video, talk to you later. Bye bye.